Like a glove.
So nervous.
Alright, we did not destroy the counter. Phew.
I've got some serious goals this week. I'm hoping to get this thing to be at least somewhat move-in ready by the end of the week. It is now Sunday. We've been working on it most of the day today, and then I'm just going to spend every single day, as long as I need to get this thing ready to go. Like, I want to be able to take it on little trips just to test it out over the next month or so. The weather is absolutely perfect here in Florida right now. Just want to enjoy it. It's time to get things finished up. You know, obviously there's always going to be little projects and stuff as we move in and as we realize what needs to change and stuff, but the main things, the little things and the main things, I want to get them all done right now. How do you feel about that goal?
What goal?
Moving ready by the end of the week. I'm being serious. I'm making progress. We are at least sleepable by the end of the week.
Okay, yeah.
Minus the
it's
mattress.
already kind of sleepable. It just can't do anything else in it. But
Plumbing, electrical, lighting.
let's do it.
I'm ready to go. I don't know. It seems to be working, but it does get dimmer as you go that way. I don't know if that's normal or if there's a connection issue somewhere. I feel like I could be at this all night though and not actually find a solution. So my first order of business for today is to build a toilet. Our original plan was to use Shannon's old Nature's Head composting toilet. We were going to put it underneath the sink. I know that I mentioned that in a previous video, and the idea was to let it kind of just pull out and go back in. But then we realized that we should probably use the space underneath the sink for like plumbing, like normal people do underneath their sinks. So we decided that we were going to have to put it somewhere else. And the problem with the Nature's Head compost toilet is that it's really, really big. Like the thing is this tall for the most part, so we weren't going to be able to fit it underneath the bed anywhere. Wouldn't really fit anywhere else inside this van. So what we're going to do instead is try building our own composting toilet, and we actually got a kit on Etsy. It was relatively cheap and had everything that we need. So it doesn't look like much right now, it just looks like a bucket with a cheap toilet seat on it, but I'm going to build a small custom box for it. Essentially, it's going to look like a bench kind of thing. Like, you're not going to know that it's a toilet unless you pull up the lid and then can actually reveal the area inside. This cross-towel process is a lot easier when you have two drills, but unfortunately I managed to kill my favorite drill that I had for a really long time a few days ago while I was trying to cut holes in something with a hole saw, so gotta get a second drill because having to change the bit every single time you drill a hole is kind of a pain in the butt. Definitely not the most comfortable seat in the van. Not too much headroom back here, but it hides the toilet, so I guess that's good. And I'm sure that people will be able to sit on it, you know, if we have more than two people in here, just as a place to kind of sit and hang out temporarily. I still gotta sand it, gotta paint it, make it match everything else in here, but pretty much done. The beauty of cross-style construction. Let's get this heater in now. So I spent the better portion of the day yesterday trying to figure out this whole heater situation here. The deal is that originally there was a Mikuni heater here, came with the van. It was installed years and years ago over in Japan, but then when we got the van, you know, we tested it. It didn't work. It was blowing air, but it was not getting hot. We think maybe it was an issue with the glow plug, possibly an issue with the fuel line. There were a couple of different error codes that we were getting. And we looked at maybe getting replacement parts and trying to take it apart and fix it and restore it. But then we realized that that was probably going to be more expensive than just buying a brand new Chinese diesel heater like the ones that everyone's using these days. So we decided to just scrap the old Mikuni, probably just going to sell it, and then go with something like this. So I ended up buying this Chinese diesel heater, and I thought that the install was going to be pretty straightforward. There's tons of resources online. The holes were already there for the exhaust. I didn't really have to do much. But the goal was that we were going to try to reuse the old fuel line. The old heater ran from a fuel line that goes directly into the diesel tank of the van, and I thought that would be really awesome just to be able to, you know, tap into that and use it. Needless to say, tapping into that fuel line has not been very easy, and I think maybe part of the problem is that it is clogged somewhere or that it's not connected right or something, but I'm getting little trickles of diesel fuel, but pretty much nothing else. So the heater's not igniting. I've been trying to troubleshoot this. I've redone my fuel line on my end as much as I can. I think we might be at the point where we're going to give up on it and just try using the tank that came with the heater and just installing it somewhere in the back and just running off that. Guess it wouldn't be so bad. We will then have an extra 10 liters of diesel fuel on us wherever we go, which is good in case we ever run out of gas, I guess. But I don't know, guys. It just, something seems wrong. Blowing hot, got it working. So the next step is to get started on the wiring. I do have the heater running in here, and of course it's like 85 degrees outside today, so it is extremely toasty in here right now. Like I said, the heater is working, which is good. I was able to just switch over to using the fuel tank that came with the kit, but we are experiencing a bit of a problem here. The heater is leaking a very small amount of diesel fuel from the actual seal underneath the heater. I checked, it's not the way that I hooked up the fuel lines or anything. Everything is good there, but for some reason it's leaking. And I will say that when I opened this heater yesterday, there were some scuff marks on the top of the heater, and it looked like it had been used before. It didn't look like it was brand new, so I have this theory that maybe it was defective, maybe it was having this issue with whoever had it before me. They sent it back in, and then this company just kind of repackaged it and sent it back out. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on, but it's a very small amount of diesel fuel, and then consequently we're also getting a little bit of white smoke as well occasionally inside the cab of the van. So because I just refuse to give up on this, Shannon's been trying to get me to give up for like the last 24 hours. He thinks it's kind of a lost cause, but I just redid the fuel line one more time, reconnected everything. I did see where the leak was coming from. I do think that it's a manufacturer issue. The hole for the gasket is just a little bit too big, but I was able to kind of seal it up a little better, and I got creative with this metal bracket here, so I'm gonna try one more time. Now we wait. So after redoing the fuel line again yesterday, I tested it, I ran it a bunch, and it seems to have mostly fixed the problem, but I'm still getting a little bit of a leak, just a couple of drops of diesel fuel. And the way I look at it, guys, is even just a couple of drops of diesel fuel, that's not something that's going to get better over time. It's probably going to only get worse, and I don't really want to have diesel fuel and white smoke blowing in the cabin. So if it's not safe to use, which that's definitely not safe, I think we're going to have to return it. I've now spent the better part of the last 48 hours thinking about this, reading forums, looking at YouTube videos, and there are a couple of things that I could theoretically try. I could redo the fuel line again with like a more rigid vinyl tubing, not the one that actually came with the kit, but I don't know, like when you buy a kit like this, in my opinion at least, it should have all the things that you need, and all the things that you need should work. And there's no guarantee that me redoing that will actually fix the problem. I do believe that there is a problem with the heater unit itself, and that's why it was scuffed. That's why it looked like it was used. I'm gonna just send it back, guys. I'm gonna pull it out. And we also have the fuel tank inside the van. You're not really supposed to do that. I know a lot of folks do that. A lot of folks have really good luck with these Chinese diesel heaters, these cheap heaters like this, and I'm not having good luck with it. That's the way that I look at it. Like, I've spent too much time on it. What I think I'm going to do instead is maybe just put the old Mikuni in here and just kind of tinker with it when I get time. Maybe buy that glow plug, maybe buy a few parts. I could at least learn about heaters, you know, learn more about heaters than I've learned. It is really interesting. I won't deny that. It's been a good learning experience, but it's also been very frustrating, and I just want to get this thing out of here and move on. There's all fuel on the underside of this gasket. It's definitely leaking inside the unit. This has been a huge waste of time. This is the Saipo heater. I don't know how to pronounce its Chinese name, but would not recommend it. Amazon was amazing though. They issued us a full refund for it, and we don't have to send it back. Like, we sent them pictures of the unit, we showed them what was going on. They said because it's covered in diesel fuel, it's clearly defective. There are clearly problems with it, they said. So at least we don't have to send it back. We got our money back. Just wasted 2 days on this whole project, this whole catastrophe. I guess the good thing about not having to return the heater means that I can just kind of package it up, put it in a box, and who knows, maybe in a couple weeks when I'm bored and finished with the build in here, I can take it out and kind of mess with it a little more. Maybe take the whole thing apart, really delve into it, and try to figure out what's going on. Not really a priority right now. I know I've said that a few times. I really need to move on. Just trying to get all the wiring done now in here. I've been working on the lights. Got this little 12-volt switch here with a USB port that's straight to our battery, so we'll be able to just charge our phones at night without having to run our solar generator or anything like that. We are using those two systems. I know that I mentioned that in the previous video, so just trying to get all this stuff wired into the house battery, the oven. I'm having some issues with the lights. This past week has been a lot of trial and error, mostly error at this point, but just plugging along here, guys. We're getting to crunch time, you know, we're getting pretty close. Tomorrow morning, Shannon's been working on the plumbing. She has some really awesome ideas for that. She ran to Lowe's and Home Depot last week, talked to a couple of folks, has everything all pretty much ready to go. So we're going to try to tackle that tomorrow at some point, maybe tomorrow afternoon. But right now, I'm just trying to get this wiring done. It is extremely hot in here. It's the evening and it's still like 85 degrees outside. It's super humid. I'm like sweating to death in here, but gotta get it all done. So I did not accomplish my goal of trying to get everything done in the van and getting it moving ready by the end of the week. It's actually been over a week now since I shot that initial clip earlier in this video, and there's still so much left to do, guys. I'm pretty exhausted, but just trying to do the best that I can, you know, just moving along. I am encountering a few problems though that are kind of slowing me down, obviously with the heater, that whole dilemma. The wiring is mostly done in here, like I said yesterday, but there's a few issues with the lighting that I have to work through, as well as with one of the 12-volt outlets underneath the bed. It's just a lot to do. Plumbing, still haven't gotten to that yet. Hopefully we can try to tackle that maybe this afternoon. It's gonna be a busy couple of weeks here. I'm just gonna keep doing the best that I can though. Just keep plugging along, and I cannot wait to get back on the road. Hopefully that comes a little bit sooner than I'm anticipating. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you all in the next one. Why did the turtle cross the road?